Boy, do we have an amazing group for you today. The Rose Bowl has been, somebody told me I was wearing the wrong color. I'm wearing the Rose Bowl color because I'm representing the Rose Bowl. Can somebody tell me that I'm wearing the wrong color? All right. So just checking. We've got just an amazing group of women here today, and I've been on the Rose Bowl Legacy Board, and it's been just so wonderful to be able to represent women all over the world for the Rose Bowl. And today we have some incredible women that have joined us. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time with them. I'm going to ask a few questions just to get us started. We're going to focus on their career. We're going to focus on the areas that have been difficult for them in their career, things that we can actually take and learn and implement right away in our life, in our business, and in our personal life. We're going to focus on core values and sportsmanship and how sportsmanship really translates into our business life, our married life, our life in all facets of our life. And then I'm going to turn it over to you. So as we talk, I invite you to get a notebook and get a piece of paper or use your PDA, because I guarantee you're going to take a lot of notes. These ladies have a lot of wisdom to share. So take a lot of notes. Gentlemen, you too, take a lot of notes, because this conversation is not just for the women, it's for all of us. Fair? Okay. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to ask each of you to just give us a little bit of your career, and then we're going to delve in.
Hello. Hey. So I'm Julie Ehrman. I'm co-founder and president of Angel City Football Club, which is the women's professional sports team here in Los Angeles. We're in our second season. Thank you. Yeah. We have a nervous 2 weeks left to see if we can make the playoffs, but it's been pretty incredible. My career is absolutely not a straight path at all. I graduated from Washington University in St. Louis, wanted to be an investment banker, did that, got the entrepreneur itch while I was in college, started my first company in 1999 during the first dot-com bubble, and spent most of my career in content and entertainment and mobile and gaming, and now most recently in sports.
Beautiful, thank you.
Wow. Talk about intimidating. First of all, it's amazing to be back in Pauley Pavilion. Annie Myers-Drysdale, this is your home. I was the head coach here at UCLA Gymnastics for 29 years. In fact, one of our first national champions in 1987 is here with me, Lena Dikteva. And I was at UCLA for 37 years total, assistant and then head coach. Earned 7 national championships and have all these fun little rings and trinkets and all that and medals to go with it. But my most fun fact is I've never done gymnastics in my life. I was a ballet dancer. And so where Julie went and saved the world for us financially and all that, I was on stage just putting on tutus and pretty dresses. But my story's pretty fun because when I was asked to be the head coach, I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know anything about gymnastics, but more importantly, I didn't know how to build a culture, I didn't know what that looked like. And with the help of our dear friend and mentor, Coach Wooden, tend to put in the pillars in place and figured it out. And the way I figured it out was by honoring and developing the whole human that was the student athlete. And so focusing on them as a human being before focusing on the drills and skills and winning a national championship. And I had the best career and the best 40 years of my life here at UCLA.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
My name is Annie Myers-Drysdale, and I'm a Title IX baby. I was the first woman to ever receive a full athletic scholarship here to UCLA. My brother David was already here, and he was on Coach Wooden's last championship team, and I apologize, I call Coach Papa a lot. And I played 7 sports in high school, 3 sports here at UCLA, played volleyball, ran track. And so I had no idea what I was going to do. I was a sociology major. I was on the first Olympic team in 1976 where we won silver. And you see where USA basketball has gone for women's basketball, and now that we have a league, the WNBA. I was the #1 draft pick in the very first women's pro league, the WBL. And so I've been in the right place at the right time. I've been very fortunate, but I owe so much to UCLA and who I am today. I was a fifth-year senior. I was never here for summer because I was always playing USA basketball, so that quarter system caught up with me. And I took a class in sports broadcasting, and Professor Friedman and also a gentleman named Tom Harmon really coerced me into broadcasting, which I never knew that I would do something like that. And I've been broadcasting 47 years, have done 6 Olympics, and worked for the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury. As a matter of fact, I have a game next week with the Suns. So almost 50 years I've been broadcasting.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have a player, a coach, and a club president right in front of you. And if you hear what they just said, all of them talked about humanity, the human being, and the leader within, and the person within. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit. In business and in life, it's really important for all of us to keep in mind that no matter what we're doing and who we're leading with, who it is that we're leading with, it's really humans. It's really human beings. And when we see them as human, as you were saying, the whole, and John Wooden taught us that, take a look at the entire human, and that is when the trust is held, that is where the value is, and that is when your performance is not only coming up, but it's sustainably up. So let's talk about a little bit about your leadership. Each one of you had people in your lives that made a difference for you. Can you talk about, how many of you are mentors? Raise your hand here. How many of you have mentors right now? I don't know about you, but I have a mentor for every part of my life because they stretch me. And in every part of my life, as I get stretched, I outgrow them, so I get a new one so that I can lean in. Tell us about the mentors that you have had in your life and what was so special that you got from the very best mentor that you had.
I got it. As I said, Coach Wooden was my mentor. The interesting thing about Coach is a lot of people ask, what's the best advice that Coach Wooden ever gave you? Coach Wooden never gave advice, and that was part of his brilliance. I'm going to tell a really short story. I see the timer right there. A really short story. It was 9/11. It was the morning of 9/11. It happened to be the first day that our team was going to be reporting that day. And so I had my entire first team meeting planned out about how we were going to win a championship. And I'm driving to work, and I hear this horrific news about the World Trade Centers. And obviously, everything I'd planned is out the window. So I had nothing. I call Coach Wooden, and I say, Coach, I got nothing. And he says, oh, honey, just follow your heart. And I said, no, you don't get it. I got nothing. I'm meeting my team in like 45 minutes. I got nothing. And he says, honey, just follow your heart. That's all he gave me. So I have our team meeting, sit there. One of the first things that one of our student athletes says, tears coming down her face, is, Miss Val, why? We're supposed to go in the gym and train, like flip and twist and play gymnastics after this. I don't think I can go in there and do gymnastics, and I don't know if I will ever be able to go in a gym and train again. There's so much important stuff happening in the world. Why would we ever go in and play gymnastics? And in that moment, I understood the answer from my heart, because we can. Because we live in a country where women get to play games and do sports and get an education. So not only are we going to go in that gym and play gymnastics today, but we're going to do it with more gratitude and appreciation than we've ever had before in our lives. Had Coach Wooden told me what to say to our team, I would have questioned my heart, and I would have said what Coach told me to say, which wouldn't have been authentic and real in the moment.
You had a lot of coaches. Go ahead.
Okay, Ann.
Well, I've had so many, and Papa was one of them, certainly, but I go with my mom. I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters, and her saying was, it'll all work out. No matter what happens, it's all going to work out. And her work ethic to raise 11 children, her dedication to her children, her family, her grandchildren, just showed me as a woman growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s and raising all these children, the strength that she had to get up every day, whether she was doing laundry or making beds or lunches or getting us off to school and so forth, but she was always there for us. So I think being present is so important, and paying attention to detail, which she always did, which Papa always did, pay attention to detail. And but whatever happens in your life, live each day as your masterpiece, and it'll all work out.
I love it.
I was just thinking while you were talking that there are so many leadership books, and yet what Valerie said is so right, is that leadership is really personal. And what you should take from all of that and what you should take from us is inspiration, right? To hone your own culture and your own style and your own sense of leadership. And what my mom told me, which as I reflect back has actually guided all of my best decisions, including Angel City, was a quote that she would say, which is, she didn't know it couldn't be done, so she went ahead and did it. And that's sort of how I've lived my life and how I make my decisions and how I lead, because if you're constantly following what other people do or doing what other people tell you to do or doing what's done before, you're never going to have that inspiration, have that innovation. You're never going to challenge the status quo and think it can be done differently. And you're going to keep repeating the same behavior and more than likely getting the same results, if not less than those same results. So if you're looking for something different, you have to have that courage to not repeat the past. And in that quote, just believe in yourself.
So let's think about that. So I just finished running JP Morgan Chase, $250 billion operation, 10,000 employees, 1,000 branches, turned it from $250 billion to $358 billion in 2.5 years. And so I'm only saying this so that you can see the context under which I'm going to talk to you and translate what they're saying into our everyday life as leaders, in our everyday life as just humans, period. So what we just heard that we can take back from all of you is trust yourself. When you are the person that is supposed to know, sometimes we reach out to others, but there's something about us that will know what to say at that moment. I spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast with the president in February, and that's exactly what happened. And miracles happened when you just show up. And we just heard about showing up. And showing up is exactly that, is bringing 100% of yourself, period. Period. Just showing up. And understanding that, it's all going to work out. Because it always does. Beautifully said. Thank you so much, ladies. The next question that I have for you, and I know that you get asked this all the time, is, when people come to you and they probably say, what's the one piece of advice that you would give me? And there's so much to each of you. Each one of you has gone through so much. So my question is, all of you have gone through what I call crucibles. And actually, Bill George wrote a book called Finding Your True North. And the crucibles are the times in your life that were defining times, defining moments in your life that in that moment you said, oh my gosh, and you became somebody different or something else. Just, it's like your paradigm completely shifted. And I see a big smile on your face, so I'm going to start with you because you just thought about yours.
I don't have one.
Ah.
That's just it. People say, what's your, what is it? Aha.
Yeah, your
aha
aha moment.
I don't know. I don't have a moment. The good Lord's been great and doors have opened up for me. I don't have one.
I do.
Sorry.
Okay.
I do. No, shocker.
I'll come back to you.
Shocker.
I'll come back to you.
I want to get back to something that Julie said, and you mentioned the word courage. And I've recently just been marinating on the fact that anything meaningful in life, the first step is courage, summoning the courage. And you don't need courage to take a step towards something that you already know how it's going to turn out. Courage is taking a step towards your goal without any guarantee of a result. And so when Julie was talking about this and the importance of courage, when you look at any virtue, the first step, you have to summon that internal courage to be able to be kind, to be able to tell somebody I love you first, to be able to do what's best for someone and cut them from the team. It's all, I love that word courage, and that just like hit me outside the head. But my defining moment was 2014 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in my cacophony of fear in my head, I heard, be anxious for nothing and grateful for all things. And some of you may sitting there may be translating this as the universe speaking to me or cosmic energy. I translated that as God speaking to me, and I got really snarky with God. And I said, I don't know if you heard or not, but I have a potentially fatal tumor in my breast. So this be anxious for nothing thing and grateful for everything is not really sitting well. And I heard it twice. My husband said in God's wisdom, he knew he had to tell me twice, so I'd shut up and listen. But the next day I went to the doctor and I was told if I got diagnosed 10 years ago, they had nothing for me. But since I was diagnosed in 2014, if I chose to get chemotherapy and if I chose to get surgery, they knew it was going to work. And in that moment, I understood the commandment of how I was not going to be anxious was through gratitude. I didn't have to get chemotherapy. I got to get chemotherapy because I lived at a time that had the chemo. I was so excited to get chemotherapy, I called it going to my chemo spa because a spa is someplace you go to get better. Switching that one word, have to get to, not only changed my entire experience with cancer, but it's changed my entire life since that moment.
I love that. Thank you so much.
For me, it's not. I'm an entrepreneur, so I hear the word no more than I hear any word in the world. And for me, it's just that fuels me. If I'm passionate about something, if I have the courage and the conviction to follow it and believe that it will actually achieve the results or the goals that I want, I let the no's fuel me because I don't want to be defined by failure. And yes, you learn a lot by failure, but there is that moment where you have failed, and I never want to be defined by that. So I quickly recognize why it happened. Maybe I was talking to the wrong person, maybe I didn't present it in the right way, maybe it's not the right time, but it's like, how can I turn the no into a yes and try to create a new path? And maybe that is me, evolving and pivoting and changing, but not ever letting the no stop me from accomplishing what I want.
I love that. Not ever yes, please. Absolutely. Not ever letting that no. How many of you have had those no's and it just kind of breaks you down and you're like, oh no. Yeah, it happens to all of us. And so when I read no and I put a T and then I put an N, Y-E-T, right? Not yet. So not now, not yet. What do I have to do to reinvent myself so that I can turn that into a yes? Because I will always turn it into a yes somehow. But I love what you said about gratitude. My brother was dying of cancer 5 years ago, and I got to take care of him. And I remember when he couldn't even move. He could barely move his fingers, and I would tell him jokes. He was my brother, so I told him a dirty joke. And when he was just barely able to just move his tiny little finger a little bit just to acknowledge that he heard it, that's when I said, gratitude's going to be my lifeline. And that's what became my lifeline. So beautifully said. Thank you so much. And Anne, I almost tend to, because we've known each other, and when we started the Rose Bowl Women's Empowerment Summit together a few years ago, 5 years ago, You've always been the kind of person that really takes it. You show up, and I was just telling you that just before we came up. You just show up. You're just there. You are it, I said to you, because you live it. There's something about people who have values, who live according to their core values, and just show up. Because there's nothing. You don't have to worry about what you're going to say. You're just completely aligned, just like the rest of the ladies here. And maybe what you didn't see, maybe you had crucibles that you didn't see as crucibles, but opportunities to live and opportunities to just show up. So thank you for that, because it's a big lesson. How are we living our life? Are we getting to, or are we having to? We get to wake up every morning. We get to show up. We get to have courage and all of those things. We have 10 and a half minutes left, 10 and a half minutes left, and I would love to give an opportunity to all of you. You've got incredible women here, and I'm sure some of you have some questions. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. If you don't, I have plenty of them, but I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions. Does anybody have a question that you would like to ask?
First, thank you all for sharing your wisdom. Coach Val, I wanted to just revisit something you said that I thought was really intriguing, and we skipped over it really quickly. You said getting this opportunity and knowing very little about gymnastics, you said your strategy was to honor the whole human being. Can you explain a little bit more what you meant by that, what that means?
Mm-hmm. Yes, when I first took over, we were extremely talented, but our team sucked. And it wasn't on them, it was on me. And so I was going to resign. I decided not to resign. Actually, I was walking through the student store, found Coach Wooden's book, and looked at his definition of success, which is peace of mind and knowing you've done your best. And I was like, I don't even know what my best is. So I go back to the office, and I was thinking, let's talk about the world of athletics. How many trillions of dollars are spent each year on athletics? And to me, coming from the world of ballet, athletics was all about bragging rights. Athletics was about being able to say, ha ha, we beat you. I was like, there has to be more to athletics than bragging rights. What is it? And that's when it was like, it was just opened up, was so clear. Sport, as we all know, I'm preaching to the choir here, sport teaches us resilience, grit, courage, how to be a part of something greater than yourself, how to fall and get back up, to shorten the distance between failure and recovery. Sport teaches you everything you don't learn in a classroom. And now I'm going to sound like I'm making a Hallmark card, but thinking about it, those are the same characteristics that superheroes have. And so my mission switched from trying to figure out how to win, and I switched to, I'm going to help every single one of my student athletes develop into the best champion in life that they can be. And because I'm at UCLA and I can recruit talent, I know that champion mentality is going to translate to the competition floor, and we will win. But instead of focusing on winning, haha, we beat you, bragging rights, I focused on using the classroom that was our gym to develop these superheroes that literally are out in the world today, making our world a better place. We transcended sport when you focus on the person that is the athlete. Excited, I'm like, I want to be up here going, you got it?
So guess what? The same thing in life. You transcend the business world. When you take a company that is even in financial services, you look at people as humans and you can transcend all of it. It's the same thing we learned from Papa, as you call him.
Failure is not fatal. Success is not final. It's courage that counts.
We have our Coach Wooden
Drop
right
the
here.
mic, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo! Any other questions from the audience? If anybody would like to ask a question, we've got some new people coming in. You're welcome. We have a question coming up from somebody that just came in over here.
Hi, my name is Lauren. My question is actually for the Angel City club owner. I just saw yesterday in the news that you guys have the highest valuation of any women's team in the world. And with it being so new, 2 years old, how did you get to that point?
Yes. Great question.
That is a good question. Thank you. Yeah, so we're intentional. We looked at women's sports the way it deserved to be operated, the way it deserved to be invested in, and we were intentional about investing in our community, in the product, in our players, and the club, and make it something that people would want to support and create an experience that was absolutely a FOMO experience, that if you weren't there, you wanted to be there. And we did it transcending the sport by saying, if we do this right, if we're able to build a community, and communities create a sense of belonging, and when you're together, you can accomplish more than you can individually. If we do this right, we can do more than just win on the pitch. So when Angel City came together, it was founded by 3 women, Natalie Portman, the actress and activist, Karen Nortman, who's a venture capitalist, and myself. And we came together because we wanted to drive for equity, real equity, gender equity, and pay equity. And we believed that we could use sport as a way to draw attention to the issues and to drive to real equity. And so we built Angel City differently. We built it on the premise that mission and capital could coexist, and everything we do is going to have purpose and profit at its core. Everything. So if we're going to have a community event, we're going to have an equipment drive, or we're going to have a food distribution drive, or we're going to walk our talk. So when we launch sponsorships and we partner with people, we launched the Angel City sponsorship model, where 10% of our sponsorship dollars went back into the community. To date, we put $3.2 million to work through our impact platform of Equity Essentials in Education. We've held over, in 3 years, 833 events. We do over 250 events a year. We have distributed 1 million meals to date. We've put 140 coaches into employment. We've put out $143,000 in scholarships and grants, and we do that because we want to make the community better, who in turn want to support Angel City and help it grow, and the reality is it's actually good business. And so the answer to your question is, we've been able to achieve the highest value because our community shows up. We've sold out 5 games. We have an average of 20,000 fans. We have more season ticket holders than 4 professional male sports teams here with 16,500. We have the highest sponsorship revenue. I mean, the most media attention, because we're talking about something bigger than sport. We're talking about equity. We're using sport to do it. And we're recognizing that this is fun entertainment. So we found a way to bring purpose, pop culture, and sports together in a way that not only moves you, but moves you. And that's how we've done it.
She doesn't have any passion, does she? It's awesome. Got to go to the games.
I know, exactly. So somebody's recording this because I want to read it to see it again. So the way I see it is you've gotten the highest value because you've given the highest value to the community, to the players, to the coaches. But the community will round up around you when you care about the community. So keep that in mind, entrepreneurs. One last question for each of you, since we only have 2 minutes and 42 seconds left. What's the one thing that you would like to leave the team with? Here, the group with.
When you lead with kindness and respect, when you lead with that, it fills you up with a sense of confidence that nobody can take away from you, regardless of whether that person accepts your kindness and respect.
Whatever position you're in, it's about your integrity. Your integrity and the people that you work with, trust. Do they trust you enough because of your integrity to carry on for you?
Yeah, they're really good. I don't know why I was so last. I would say a couple things. One is to be a model. Like, we talk about being a role model, but I think what's interesting, and I was contemplating this as you were talking, like, this is the women's symposium. Like, I've never been to a men's symposium. You don't have to have a men's symposium, right? We have to have women's symposiums so you can see leaders and people that have courage and conviction and bravery and gratitude and kindness and conviction to do what it is they do. And so if you are a model for others, one day we won't have to gather like this to point it out. And that goes for men also. Like, you can be an ally and you can champion others. When you get into our positions, we talk about it a lot. It's not just opening the door, but it's holding the door open and pulling others through it. And you can do that for, everybody that you work with.
I love it. And I would leave you with, to whom much is given, much is expected. Take a look at your position. Where are you today in your life? Where are you a leader in your life? Because every single one of us here is a leader, whether in your school, in your classroom, in your family, in your community, in your business, in your sport. To whom much is given, much is expected. So show up and do it with integrity and with genuine care. Thank you so much.